we were completing Nights on Broadway. We'd just done most of the vocal tracks and all the harmonies and stuff. And usually, you know, at the end, you know, you have some ad-libs or some kind of thing to take us away from the original melody and have some fun.
So Arif wanted us to go out and sort of sing or try to scream like Paul McCartney would sometimes scream in falsetto, you know?
So Barry said, I'll have a go. So we went out there and he did the Blaming It Alls ad-lib on the end of Nights on Broadway. And he screamed, and it's the first time I've heard him scream in tune with a melody.
And in doing so, I discovered I had a falsetto voice. I knew it was back there somewhere because we tried things like that very early on.
And we thought, oh, that's brilliant. You know? So after that, actually, we wrote Fanny Pretender because we wanted to do a whole song in falsetto because we loved the stylistics. We loved the Spinners, the Delphonics. They were coming out with these, like, Bet You By Golly, wow. They were all falsetto stuff, lead singers. And that was black R&B at the time. That's what they called it at the time. So we were into all that stuff.
Fanny Pretender, I think, convinced us that we were now recording the kind of music that was going to take us to the next plateau.
What's happening for the first time also was that these, apart from going onto the Billboard pop charts, we're actually here on the black charts as well, where there were no white acts, and that was telling us something that, you know,
yes,
that we were in an area that we would never have gone into before.
We just felt tremendously happy. We were just so knocked out that we had an audience again, you know, and to have that success, because even before that, we weren't even looking for a thing like a Fever or anything like that. We were just making music. And Children of the World, which followed that, you know, we had You Should Be Dancing, which is the only obvious dance song we ever wrote, really. And Love So Right were 2 number ones off that. And so they were like triple platinum. You know, we were just coasting along here. We were having a ball. This is great, you know. We were having a great time. And it's only till the Fever thing happened, that's when everything went, you know, exploded. When the world just went crazy.
Had a phone call from Robert saying Paramount was making a movie and he was producing.
You know, he told us about this guy who works in a paint shop on the other side of the bridge in Brooklyn, you know, and he blows his wages every Saturday night at a club and wins a dance competition. I thought, nice one, Rob.
John Travolta was dancing in the film to You Should Be Dancing, which had been a hit off Children of the World, which was the previous album. And Robert wanted to know if we'd had anything, or if we could write more songs for the film.
And we went, oh, okay. So we had Staying Alive, How Deep Is Your Love, and If I Can't Have You were the first 3 ones that he heard. And he said, great, you know, this is fantastic.
And to us, this was most likely to be our new album.
So he came back about a month later and asked for some more. I mean, our album's gone now, you know. So we ended up with about 8 of our songs in the film. But in those days, you thought, God, you know, you'd pay people to put your songs in the film. As you know, he said, well, great promotion.
There was a suggestion that...
Staying Alive should be called Saturday Night. And Robert said, no, we should keep it. Well, Staying Alive is like Buried Alive. No, it's the opposite to Buried Alive. It's actually Staying Alive. And Robert dug his heels in because they thought it was a very sophisticated title for a popular song. But we wouldn't budge from that, neither would Robert, because there's so many songs called Saturday Night. But we did have a song called Night Fever, and the compromise was that we suggested that the title of the film should be Saturday Night Fever, but we would have the song Night Fever on the album without Saturday on it.
So we stayed on the path that we'd always stayed on, and that is, let's just make what we believe is a great record.
Yeah.
And we continued with that for about 6 or 7 songs, and never really knowing whether or not they were going to be used in the movie or not. We didn't go near the film. The only time we went near the film was the premiere,
right.
where we stood at the back of the theatre listening, and at least being able to say to Robert, it's wonderful, but when you're in a club, you can't hear people dancing.
That's right.
The music was too soft. And if you're in a club, you don't hear people going like,
You don't hear their feet.
you don't always hear all this stuff. Robert got the point, pumped the music up, took out all the noises of the feet, and that's what you have now.
Know your eyes in the morning sun. I feel you touch me in the pouring rain. And the moment that you wander far from me, I wanna feel you in my arms again. And you come to me on a summer breeze, keep me warm in your love, then you softly leave. And it's me you need to show. How deep is your love? Is your love? How deep is your love? I really need to learn. 'Cause we're living in a world of fools, breaking us down when they all should let us be. We belong to you and me.
Being in Miami, actually, you're in a sort of goldfish bowl here. You know, it's like you don't see much of what's going on out there. And when we were here writing and stuff for the Spirits album, we didn't think about what Fever was doing or what's happening out there. We didn't really know that much. So we were locked away for about a month before How Deep Is Your Love came out. And that was the #1 before the film came out. And I remember everyone saying, what a great R&B ballad. And as soon as the film came out, I said, what a great disco ballad. It was so opposite, it was so funny.
The one thing that still affects us is How Deep Is Your Love. No matter how it's sung, it's still a beautiful song. So it wasn't all really what you would call dance music.
But then, of course, we became the biggest disco band around, which totally amazed us because we always thought Casey was the disco thing and Donna Summer, and that was all great fun stuff. It was party music, but we never regarded ourselves as that.
All I know is that when we were recording these songs, we didn't think about dancing or
No.
we were just thinking about songs. We didn't even know the word disco music ever really existed. It was quite after the film
Yes.
because of the film's success.
None of us expected the success that Fever had. And the album started doing 1 million a week. And this was pretty shocking for us, and we couldn't even look at those numbers. We couldn't understand it.
Such a phenomenon. Other record companies were printing it, then our record company couldn't keep up the pace.
It was an incredible feeling. It was like being in the eye of the storm. You didn't have a real sense of what was going on around you. You couldn't answer your phone. You had people climbing over your walls. So it was sort of, it was extremely crazy and something we weren't used to because we'd never experienced that kind of fame or that kind of good fortune.
It actually has affected, in many ways, the culture in a very sort of subconscious way that very few vehicles have.
And that's the amazing thing is it still gets played. And we don't even understand that. We just were bewildered by it.
There's something magical about when something happens. You just don't know where this is, where this captures the imagination of millions of people at the same time. It goes beyond being just a hit album.
Disco is a bad word if you're not the group that disco is built around. And we're the group that disco was built around. And so, based on that, we're very, very happy with the word disco.
Oh, absolutely.
It was an amazing experience in the recording industry.
There was no radio station that wasn't playing back to back Gibb Brothers songs. It was and of course the record business was pretty angry because they couldn't get records on the playlist because there was no room. It was #1 on the Billboard charts for 6 months unbroken.
Fever did around 30 to 35 million. Thriller did approximately 50 million. And we're quite happy to be second to Michael, and we've had a lot of giggles about that.